welcome to this edition of The Advance. I'm Michael Quinn Sullivan, standing here with Brandon Waltons on this Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us. Brandon, we're starting to now see kind of the rhythm of the Texas legislative session get underway. How the Senate Business Committee is meeting, and they're talking about cryptocurrency?
Yes, so they're talking about cryptocurrency, specifically a crypto reserve. So essentially,
what could go wrong?
Essentially, where the comptroller could put some investments, some of the state investments into Bitcoin, some of these other, cryptocurrencies. Interesting to say the least. Actually, it's something that Senate Bill 21, I believe it is, one of the priorities of Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick this session. They're hearing that bill in committee today, along with a slew of other legislation. So really, you're starting to see that rhythm already at work in the Senate, where they're holding these sort of regular committee hearings.
So a few years ago, the state of Texas invested in its own bullion depository. Yes. In fact, Leander, not far from Scorecard HQ, and so that's where the state of Texas is currently moving its gold into that facility. I wonder, where is the magic USB going to be kept with all of the state crypto on it? I wonder what.
I don't know. I'm not really like a crypto person. I know some people really are, and I think that's great. I don't.
Good for them.
I don't get it.
Exactly. All right. Okay. So we've got the business literally meeting right now.
Yeah.
If you're interested in that topic, as certainly Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is, you can go to the Senate website, click videos, and there you can watch that hearing as it transpires. Now, over in the House, committees were announced on Thursday, and today we now have the House Administration Committee meeting. That's the committee that oversees kind of the basic operations of the chamber. They make sure every office has letterhead and those kind of things, as well as some of the bigger aspects of operations.
Well, and the interesting thing about the meeting today, and this meeting was announced this morning, is that they're going to be talking about member office budgets. And it's interesting because you might recall just a few weeks ago, the House declined to take up the housekeeping resolution where office budgets are discussed. Instead, Speaker Dustin Burrows said the House Administration Committee could just decide that on their own, and that seems to be what they're doing. And so, offices right now, I guess, are finally looking forward to knowing, how much money they're going to have.
Very fascinating. 150 years of legislative history, and the chamber set those budgets. And now suddenly, I guess we've discovered a new aspect of the state constitution, letting just a committee figure all that out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know why they ever did it before, right? I guess if the committee could just do it, but that's what the House Administration Committee is up to. And then you also have House Appropriations kicking off with an organizational meeting this morning. I believe talking to Comptroller Glenn Hager. And getting some of those set, much like the Senate Finance Committee, which is sort of its companion over in the Senate, the Finance Committee. They've been holding hearings almost every day that they've been in session, going over, preparing for the budget whenever that's ultimately brought up here in a month or so, probably. That's the big thing, right? That's the big thing that they pass. It's actually the only thing they're constitutionally required to pass is a balanced budget. And so you're going to see a lot of these hearings taking place up till and even through the budget is passed in the House and the Senate.
Okay, so I guess the only real floor action to this week, scheduled for this week, is over in the Senate. So I guess, Brandon, is the Senate going to make bail?
Well, they're certainly going to try, right?
Bail wore out that joke on social media like a week ago, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Bail reform, something that is a priority not only of Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, but also Governor Greg Abbott. And that takes place in a number of different ways. There's actually several different proposals that are being brought forward that all sort of work together. There's some constitutional amendments that would need to be approved in a November election, as well as some legislation as well. Probably the hallmark of this is something that's being called Jocelyn's Law, after Jocelyn Nungare, the 12-year-old girl, I believe, who was killed by illegal aliens in Houston last year. This bill would essentially make it so that illegal aliens who are charged with felonies can't be let out on bail, which would have prevented a tragic murder like we saw with Jocelyn. So they're calling that Jocelyn's Law. You've also have proposals to say if people are being accused of and being charged with violent offenses. These should be people that aren't allowed to be out on bail, allowed, to go walk on the street and go commit other crimes. And so this will be very, very interesting to see. There's supposedly agreement, according to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and some comments he made last week. There's agreement between him and the Speaker of the House and the Texas House at large on this. And so they're going to pass this today. I think it's something that I feel should be less controversial, maybe even than school choice. And so will this be something that the Texas House says, okay, we're going to take our time on school choice, but maybe we can move on these bail reform legislation?
What's fascinating to me about this conversation about bail reform is this is maybe the fastest I have seen an issue flip and turn upside down and revolve around itself. Texas had very strong bail laws throughout the 20th century into the 21st century. Then, about 10 years ago, we started seeing this push under Governor Abbott, under kind of the same state leadership, for, well, let's make some changes to bail. Let's, maybe address some of these perceived problems of people not being able to get out on bail. But then we've seen kind of the problems that have resulted from that. And to their credit, I mean, this is, this sounds like a criticism, but to their credit, you've seen the governor, the lieutenant governor, the members of the House, members of the Senate say, okay, that didn't work. We need to fix this. And I think that it's very easy, it's always easy to criticize. But in this case, is where, look, they were certainly all motivated by pretty good impulses. But now I think they recognize that there were some places that just we have to restore that emphasis on protecting society at large from evildoers. That's, so good for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, hey, it's starting to rain here at the Texas Capitol. So we're going to end it here. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and look forward to catching you around the Lone Star State. Bye.